time on Dragon Ball Z.
So you can see the poison is taking away life. It does about 10 ticks, and I think each tick does 10 damage. So altogether, it does 100 damage. And with that, you're able to go for certain confirms that might not work usually. There we go. Next up is helium gas. There's not really much of a use with this item. This one is probably literally the worst item. Pasta! Yeah, it doesn't really have the same deep voice as here. Item more or less tells Potemkin, get over here, baby! Let's go! Thanks for the item, bro! That's exactly what I needed. Alright, so, gonna continue on with this. And we're actually gonna be talking about probably the most known item with Faust, and it's the candy items. There are two food items, so chocolate and donut more or less do the same thing here. In plus R, chocolate would give you more tension, and more tension in plus R meant that you built meter faster, where donut was the item that gave you health. Both of the items now give you health, so it doesn't really matter which one you get. So we'll have the default here, have Soul hit me a little bit. So here's chocolate, heals me up a bit. And if we go down to the donut, donut also heals. Doesn't do anything with meter. And just to show it here, I don't end up building meter. So let's give me no meter whatsoever. Oh, whoops. So as you can see, I didn't gain any meter from eating the donut. I'm only gaining meter if I'm walking forward, and if I have chocolate out, I do not gain meter, and I don't get increased tension after eating chocolate. So very different from plus R if you're coming from plus R, or if you're aware of that from plus R. The main thing that I want to say with both of the food items that I think a lot of people still not aware of, it's only like the top players that keep this in mind, or players that have like local Faust players that they can do games with. If a food item is out, unlike Strive, you can't throw another food item. But if the food item is taken, I can throw another item immediately. So with some of the people that I can tell from how they're playing or how they're trying to interact with Faust items, I can tell that they're coming from Strive, and they think, whatever, you know? Faust can still throw items here, just like in Strive. Not the case. If you're fighting a Faust, when food item is out, if you're able to stay away from food item, then Faust, like, he has to play honest. And then you can play whatever game that you want to play. But I do see certain Strive players where, like, they just grab the item to heal up. While that's fine as a tactic, because maybe you do want to try and heal up and save yourself, give yourself another fighting chance, you also gotta think, do you want the opportunity of bomb coming out if you pick up a food item? Do you want the chance, well, maybe the second bomb? Do you want mini Faust to come out? See, now I gotta deal with that. Do you want hammer? Do you want this item that we're gonna talk about next? Probably next. Do you want, I'm trying to pull meteors out here. You want big mini Faust? Like, it's a mental thing that you have to really take into hand, depending on who you're playing as. Think of it kind of like dealing with Milia's pin. It's like you're looking at it and you're saying to yourself, do I want to keep her out, or is she not really presenting pin? You know, it's that it's essentially quick decision making, because you are still focusing on what the opponent is doing, or in this scenario, what the Faust is doing. So you have to look at your health bar, look at your meter, look at their health bar, look at their meter, look what they're doing, and kind of say to yourself, like, should I grab the food item, or should I go in and try and, like, get the round? That's all that there really is with the food items. There's no setup with them. Don't even try. It's just something that happens. If anything, you know, like, if you throw them and then that situation happens, let it be, because you're still able to get a meaty, right? You're still able to get a meaty. If they have a slow wake-up timing, you can probably grab the food item first before they get it, and then it's like, hey, cool, they didn't heal up. But yeah, that's more or less it with them. Next up is platform. So what platform does is, if you're on it, it becomes an unblockable. And as you can see from the damage, it doesn't really do any damage. But it is something that can be comboed after, which is why the initial hit of it does 0 damage. So S-Door doing 23, but raw S-Door does 38. So because of that opportunity that we're able to get with platform, it scales the next hit and makes the initial hit 0 damage on purpose. And with something like S-Door, we're able to go for a combo afterwards, which is another reason as to why it scales. Here's the thing, though. Pro and... actually, these are kind of like 2 cons, so I shouldn't even say pro. The one pro that just came to my mind that I will say, this is technically unblockable. The technically is one of the cons. So, for example, if we go for knockdown into platform... it's an unblockable. So you can create unblockable situations here. And they have to hold that. Here's the con, however. You can blitz it. Doesn't matter how you blitz it, but you want to blitz it. Now, there are setups that you can do to make the blitz a little bit difficult to read how the Faust may want to catch you. So, for that explanation, let's grab Potemkin here, because this is a Potemkin-specific setup. That's the... okay, so that's the low unblockable. And what makes that very scary is that it uses the last amount of frames that jump pad is out there for you to get the unblockable. But also, when you hold S flower here, the big flower as shown... oh, wait. Ugh. The big flower shown here, it's a low. By itself like that, it's a low. And we are able to combo afterwards from it. But again, the scaling from it, that's con number so con number 1 is the fact that you can blitz it and you can make whatever mix-up that you're trying to apply with platform not work, essentially. Because like if you try and go for meaty 6 heavy, they can stand blitz it and then catch you while also stopping jump pad. If they're aware of that setup, they can low blitz and stop the whole thing entirely and keep themselves safe. You're still in an advantageous situation because you're on the pogo, you recover really fast, and you're able to like get off the pogo, YRC, maybe do this just to stay away. Yeah, I think those are really the options that you want to go for because they can do level 1 blitz. It's a really big knowledge check because that's a very specific thing that you would have to know from fighting Fausts that know that setup. But it's the fact that it scales really, really hard if you are able to combo after it. And if they're aware of how to deal with jump pad, it can kind of seem like a dead item. Good is that they waste 25% meter trying to blitz it. Bad is, it's like, okay. The good of it is that they do not really have the amount of time that they can take out of it compared to we do. Because very graciously, we're able to get out of it really high. Really high up. So it's like they hit the ground first, but we can play around because we have FDC. At that height, we can do falling jump D and stay safe. Only thing, however, is counter hit. So if we activate counter hit and see how it works for us both here. It's like, hey, knockdown for us. We tech out of it. Let's go. That's the positive of it. It's just, you know, it gives the opponent a lot of time that if we ended up getting hit by it, they can still combo from it. So it's like, oof. But, yeah, Blitz, it's like another combo breaker, essentially. If you see it, you know, you can go for this. Sometimes just seeing it, because, again, if they don't know that they have to Blitz out of it, you technically have an unblockable trap on them. Let me do it like this. And then just do that. You know. Maybe hit a meaty 2K. Go for that. And then you can do whatever. Just to show the meaty overhead option, like I said. You can do that. Respectable damage for a counter hit 6 heavy. But yeah. So, next item that we got is a 100-ton weight. Works like a 100-ton weight in Strive, but it doesn't have the slide head effect that it does in Strive. What 100-ton weight does here is that it has the slide head effect of Exert. To go back to what I was saying with Strive, if weight connects, then you're kind of in that like guard crush state of just like, oh crap. But you don't get knocked down. Here, you get knocked down. And you both wake up on the same time. But, you know, of course, if the characters' wake-up timings are different, then you see right there, Alpha wakes up faster than Faust does. But you're essentially playing at a neutral game if the weight ends up connecting. If you look at the life bar, however, the good is that if it ends up hitting the opponent, you do damage. And weight, actually, you can think of it as another hammer that you can utilize. So if you're able to see that coming, like, oh, 100-ton weight came out, you can get a confirm after it. Do you want to? It can be debatable, because you can go for this. And try and go for, like, an air catch. Something like that. Something like that. But it's not going to give you, like, a guaranteed air knockdown, obviously, you know? So, that's a combo that I would say to have in your disposal. There are ways to avoid it, however. So, obviously, if you do a jump normal, or jump cancelable normal, you can avoid it. You know, you can do that. You can just avoid it and then throw another item and get your Oki game ready. But the question for that is how do you avoid it if you end up doing a button that's not jump cancelable? So doing this sequence is kind of how I learned that there's more to do with items. You know, other ways that you can utilize them. If you go for this common string that can work out for you, if you do 5D, while Faust is spinning in this animation, the full screen effect of weight will not affect Faust. and it gives you enough time to avoid the weight altogether. So you can take advantage of the knockdown situation if they do try and jump by doing something like this. Because, you know, even if they don't jump, you can see like LFL kind of bounces. I say that like, oh, you can catch them if they're jumping. Because even though at that distance it seems like, oh, well, that's, you know, LFL can still jump out. At ranges where like you can really scare them like this, that will catch, that the far slash there will usually catch the jump out. So as you can see here, like, we can take total advantage of the weight. The weight can also help in combos. Elf out there teched out because she's a little bit awkward in some of her confirms. Okay, so now we're getting to the big stuff. So it's almost around the end of the items themselves. So what they did here in this version of Rev 2 is that now there are jackpot items for Faust. So when you throw an item, so in this example that we have right here, when you throw a bomb, since there's a jackpot version of bomb, which is fireworks, there is a 20% chance that bomb will become fireworks. This is the same with Meteor. There's a 20% chance that it'll become the big Sephiroth Meteor. Hammer will turn into a golden hammer. Mini Faust will become big Mini Faust. And your food items will become Valentine's Day chocolates or a baker's dozen of donuts. And the weight, the 100-ton weight, will turn into a 10,000-ton weight. Some of these are harder to plan ahead because with the way that some of these work, I personally don't like them. I do have combos involving them, but I don't like how iffy they can be. And it's not iffy like with the helium gas. It's iffy in the sense of it can work, but the combos that you can get out of it are very, very niche and very rare to get. So if we look at fireworks here, you don't have the 3 ticks, but you do have the sound effect of a fireworks happening. And if you're standing, you get hit, obviously. But what's different with this is that if you're thinking, oh, I'll just jump away. Oh, fireworks catches airborne opponents. Okay, what if I double jump away from it? That should work, right? No, oh, the hitbox on it is so big. So yeah, if you're fighting someone that's very airborne happy, they have to respect it. They have to respect it. Unless they have some sort of teleport, they have a move that lets them, that just lets them zoom over it, even at a full screen distance. Like, you saw Elfo blocking there for a second. Its hitbox is huge. Whoops. The benefit with this that Faust can take advantage of, because of his low stance. So we have this. This is normal low stance. It can low pro certain attacks, but not every attack, obviously, since we got hit by firework. If we crawl under firework, Faust does not care. We are that low that crawl will not hit us. Does not work the same if you're crawling backwards, because you're technically in a block state. So because of that, you will end up blocking the firework. But if your opponent is respecting fireworks, you can take advantage of that. And it's kind of like a checkmate scenario, kind of. Because if your opponent sees it like, oh, you're walking forward, you're not blocking, can I try and hit a button? Can I do that? And if they end up throwing a button out, you can catch them. If you get hit, you get hit, but they'll end up taking most of the damage because it'll come out as a counter hit. But if you're good with transitioning and like getting an IB, yeah, so if you're timing of doing crawl into back, so then that way you can predict an attack coming, while keeping yourself safe. If you're very good at applying that, then you can keep yourself safe, essentially IB fireworks, and then go for your punish there. Now, as I was saying at the beginning of this, oh, you can combo into fireworks, right? Yes, there are ways that you can do that. You build enough meter with that, and then you can go for that combo that gives you a hard knockdown. The one that I'm most aware of... I'll do it with Potemkin. The one that I'm most aware of, because this is probably the most realistic way that you can have fireworks work as a combo. There we go, there we go, there we go. And yeah, that combo utilizes the double jump install that you learn in the combo trial. So, 5k, you hold up. Well, not hold up. You press up, but then you carry it over and then cancel the jump frames into 2S. And then you super jump. And that will carry the jump that you should have done with your initial 5k. And you're able to get a combo at... You're able to get a super jump combo after it. But yeah, this is probably like the most reliable combo that you can go into if you end up throwing fireworks. And it's kind of tough because it's something that you have to visually recognize. Getting the counter hit 6p, seeing that you threw firework, and then just being like, oh, I need to go for the combo. So next up, we have Meteor. Personally, I'm not a fan of Big Meteor. The big funny joke with it is that it's very similar to Sephiroth Meteor. It does 7 hits. If the opponent is airborne, they have to spend meter to keep themselves safe. Because if you jump, then you're kind of fucked. Because that's a lot of chip damage, more or less. So... Yee! Well, it does have an initial hitting the ground hitbox. But the reason that I say that this is an item that I hate... So let's just go over here really quickly. Nani? Look at that tracking. The tracking initially starts the moment it's thrown. So its tracking is terrible. Usually when you have Meteor, Big Meteor, it's like, okay, I need to keep them pinned down. The problem is, and let's actually have Potemkin block here. You have to make sure that they don't do anything. Because if they, like, dead angle in that situation... And in the case of Potemkin here, just like, you know, I'm gonna fucking go in now that I've got you off me. It's like, okay. The good, however, is that if it's thrown and they're blocking it, then it masks both you and your opponent's character. So you can go for little mixes. Sometimes they're mixes that the opponent can't see themselves. You're able to go for some fancy, crazy shenanigans like that. But yeah. That also showcases that using Big Meteor, you can combo into it. It's possible. You can combo into it. Here's the negative. After Meteor hits, your options afterwards are very minuscule. So, Golden Hammer, essentially Hammer. It's essentially Hammer. Big difference is that it does way more stun than normal Hammer does. And the same applies with the hit stun. So I can do that. Oh, little tight combo. A little bit of a tech combo. There we go. So yeah, you can do that because you have a lot of time with it. It'll let you go into 6 heavy pretty easily. So, oh yeah, this is in Strive. Haha. So you can go into that. I mean, you can normally go into that with normal hammer. Golden hammer is just like the security blanket. It's a security blanket and a security blanket with what I said with normal hammer. Because of the extra stun. So you can even go... Yeah, you can even go for crazy situations like that. Whee! Oh, wait, no, that's a corner combo. My bad. Yeah, that's my bad. So not really much to talk about Golden Hammer. Again, it just does more stun. It lets you go for combos that maybe wouldn't normally work. Like, it gives you the extra time to recognize what happened. You know, just to showcase the difference. It doesn't carry over hit stun. It's the hammer itself. So you still gotta be smart with your play. You know. Yeah. Pretty quick and easy. I prefer this golden item, this jackpot item out of any of the jackpot items, honestly. Because this is the other problem with this jackpot item. Big Mini Faust!
MOMOKUN!
And I mean, shit, he's huge, he's big. What's the problem? He's big. Look at him go! He's huge! Here's kind of the issue. So we're gonna bring our boy Kai over. If we go back to Mini Faust. Okay. Since he's so small, again, you need to have specific fireballs to be able to kill Mini Faust. If not, then, you know, you're not touching him. For a character like Kai, he would have to do air stun edges. But he would have to time it with the Mini Faust of where he's going, right? If I do the air one, that's a different story. You still have to try and interact with him. He's completely projectile invincible. You have to, as I said in the beginning, involving Mini Fausts, you have to make contact with him in the air if you want to get rid of him. With Big Mini Faust, which I don't like with this, because he's big, his hitbox is bigger. Yes, right? Right. Because of that, his hurtbox is bigger. So he gets hit by more projectiles. The projectiles that usually wouldn't touch him end up touching him. So that doesn't really seem like a good trade-off. Maybe Big Mini Faust does more damage than Small Mini Faust? 21. Okay. Let's look at Big Mini Faust. 21? That's it? Not like 25 damage? Damn. Okay. I guess that's a deficit. Big Mini Faust is cool because you can have weird, funny interactions happen where like the opponent lands on Big Mini Faust and then you can go for a confirm. But he's not good. He doesn't change anything. He's just big. So yeah, there's not really anything too interesting with him. And there isn't really too interesting with the food items either. This is why the health bars are at 50. They still work the same way that like if Faust throws the food item, he can't throw another item. It's pickup box is bigger than chocolate. Same with donut. The range on it is a bit bigger. A bit bigger. But they give a lot more health. Hey. Default. There we go. Hey, what the f... Huh. Interesting. I can bring health down, but I can't bring the life back up. That's so interesting. So yeah, don't really like the jackpot items. And 100 ton weight, kind of works the same way as 100 ton weight. If we do the 6P combo here, whoops, you can see that it comes down and that there is a hitbox if you have it connect. Whoops. It does give you a knockdown, so that's the good. Is there anything that you can really get out of it? Well, as you can also see, the trajectory on it is a bit iffy. A bit iffy. If you're able to get far at 6P, then it can work. But it's a bit iffy. So the positive is that you do get a hard knockdown if you are able to catch that. The negative is it comes down a lot faster. So you really gotta be on top if you want to go for the 5D to avoid it. So it's like there's a good. There's a good. We just don't have the OTG options like there is in Plus R. So it's not like we can do this in the FB Pogo, continue the combo, go for going my way, you know. So with Golden Weight, same rules apply. It's more so the fact that like since it comes down, there's an actual hitbox for it, and it causes a hard knockdown. In terms of fancy shit that you can go for, like I guess you could do that. Like if you want to get out of the corner, or like do a jump cancelable button and go for something like that. Like it'll give you a turn, but then you'll have to decide like, do I want the meaty or do I want to throw an item? Whoop. I want to see that damage. There we go. And with that, if you're able to get it in the corner, like doing that RC string, you can just get the hard knockdown that way. It's funny that I'm labbing these because these are all like theory crafting in my head, but I've never like applied it because again, the jackpot items are very rare. So you can just knock, get off, go for another item. You can stay on the pogo and like set something up. Go for something like that. And that's only happening because of golden weight being there. But whatever it could be, like if it's a hammer, for example, that would probably stay close and lock them out. Because the flower would come out as meaty. Yeah, so you can get a meaty situation, just don't do one of those options. So either don't hop forward or don't throw an item, and then you can probably get a meaty flower. Better option is probably to move forward, so then that way you stay close. Because you can do that still. And essentially get the kill. That's really like the theory crafting in my head of how you can utilize it. It's kind of, if it happens, you get a good situation. The jackpot items that I also see as a negative is that they're very hard to eyeball because you can't really predict that and premeditate stuff. It's more so, hey, I happen to know this. Let me try to incorporate this. Speaking of trying to incorporate it, since we've now finished through all of the items, how does a Faust player learn how to utilize the items, when you're fighting a Faust player that knows what to do with them, so for example, my playstyle of like, you know, whoa, that was a little funny. Doing something like that of like, hey, I was able to continue a combo. How did you do that? You know, how is it that you're able to plan ahead with whatever items that you're able to toss out? So there are 3 specific spots that you want to look for as a Faust player that tells you this is where I can throw an item, right? So if you're playing around this range where you know that your far slash will connect or your too heavy will connect because of the space that you control from this distance, being able to safely throw out an item that way and recognizing, because if you are going to go for item, you should be looking at Faust's hand and see what comes out. You have enough time to technically see what comes out. Once you have the item confirmed in your head of like what came out, and it's like, okay, Meteor came out, I approach this way. Donut came out, okay, I go in, I approach this way. You can play at this space where it's like, all right, I have enough time to recognize what's going on and go about it that way. All right, whatever the player does, I react, and we just continue the match that way. If the opponent is staying, so this is number 2. If the opponent is staying away, which as Faust you're playing at this range, where they can't really touch you, depending on the character, of course, but they can't really touch you. It's a free item toss. Like, give yourself the time to see what's going on here. Give yourself a free item toss. And get whatever confirm, start whatever neutral pressure that you got. And just take a free toss. Because there's nothing to worry about. You can, so this is like the honorable mention of where you can throw items. If your opponent is being very respectful, you can technically do something like throw an item and reset pressure that way, you know. Catch them with something scary like that. If you recognize that you get hammer, yeah. You can go for a small confirm like that. You can go for a scalpel pull if you want to stay safe. Because on hit, you get this. On block, it just pushes them back. You can go for and try and whiff punish them that way. Low check them with 2P. Do something like that. Since you are close enough, you can essentially go for that. Or you can have them guess off of just 2K alone, because with 2K, it's +1, right? So you can try and frame trap with 5P, because your 5P will come out working as if it's a 5-framer. And if they respect that, then you can seal a turn that way and be super cheeky like that. Or to really scare them if they think an item's coming. Or maybe you recognize an item like that that's pretty essential, like, oh, I don't want you to have that, screw that. You know? You can take advantage of that as well. The negative of this that makes it into an honorable mention is if they FD. Block type, FD. While these... Whoop. So you can see right there, depending on where you get it, it's like, ooh. So if you know that your opponent is FDing a lot, that's a good way to catch them. Just to cancel out of 2K. But as you can see right there, like, if you're not quick with it, or even in a situation like that where they push you far enough, you can't really catch them that way. So you're more so, and even with the spacing with something like that, you're more so just trying to steal your turn and have them be scared of whatever item is tossed. And if you end up throwing food items, you're just helping them out that way. So, as you can see right there, like, even trying to do the far slash into the hammer doesn't really work. Doesn't really work with Golden Hammer either, so that's why it's an honorable mention of trying to find cheeky opportunities to throw an item really quickly and then break their defense. But you guys should already know what the third option there is to get your items out. I always do it all the time. That's why I'm good with my item tosses, because it's premeditated. Getting the knockdown. Because, of course, with it, you have enough time to see what it is that you got. And then you can go about your pressure accordingly. And go for whatever combo that you're able to accomplish. Let me try and get the neutral jump there. And this works with a lot of them. Obviously, stuff like oil is not going to help you out. Helium is not going to help you out. Meteor is random, so sometimes it doesn't help you out. Hammer, as I showed before, it doesn't really help you out doing that because it doesn't hit them grounded. So you want to go for that if you feel like Hammer might be an option that will come out. Poison, I believe, can hit meaty, technically. It ends up behind them, so you can kind of go for, like... Kind of go for something like that. Not really true. Just something that you can take advantage of, because it's like, oh, poison, right? And then you can go for that. You can continue a combo. The benefit, however, of throwing items when you get the knockdown is the fact that on almost everyone, off the top of my head, you cannot do this on Faust because it's a little awkward with his get-up timing. You cannot do it with Venom because his wake-up timing is very quick. It gives you safe jumps. Doing 2D item toss, it doesn't matter what item you toss. If you know that you're fighting a character that has a DP, and the best way to know that you hit the safe jump is if you're able to combo into close slash. And luckily, Soul is a character where I think he is susceptible to a lot. Yeah, he's susceptible to jump S, safe jump, and jump D, safe jump. Some characters are specifically jump K only. Some characters are specifically jump D only. But using those three options as your safe jump buttons, it kind of doesn't matter what item you throw. It's more so you're doing it off. You're throwing an item just to get the safe jump opportunity. But depending on what the item is, you can get more. Right? So that's the good. That's the interesting. That's the cool. That's what we're here for. And that is why you should be using the items that you have to your disposal if you're a Faust player. And those are the three ideal spots of where you want to throw your items. So just to reiterate, if you're in a position where even from round start, right? If you're in a spot where you can get that, it's completely okay for you to just throw an item, because that's what Faust wants to do. He wants to throw an item. That's what that's where all the grimy shit, you can say, can come from. Right? So either being in a position where it's okay for Faust to do more, being in a faraway position where you can safely see what the opponent is doing and then throwing an item just to see what you get, or getting a knockdown.